Welcome back to Fantasyland. Joining me today is Nick Wild, and we're going to build the ride for Dumbo the Flying Elephant. This ride is very similar to the Astro Orbiter ride that we built back in episode 9, except that the flying vehicle we need is not available in the toy store, at least not on the consoles. You're going to need a power disc, and I'm not sure where you get this vehicle on the PC version, so I apologize. Maybe someone who has the PC version can chime in under the comments section, but because Dumbo is only available with a power disc, we need a few extra Creativitoys in order to build this ride. And to save a little time, I've already placed the Creativitoys that I'm going to need. I have 3 time delayers and a vehicle summoner. And the last toy we're going to need is the path creator. And we'll go ahead and put the path in next. So we're going to start over here, lined up about the middle of that bulb, or whatever you call that shape. And I'm going to start here about midway between that and the statue, so right on the edge of the water here. And we're going to place that as our first point. And then the next point, we're going to come around to about the same point over here at the same level. And over here we're going to come to about that same point, but we're going to go up 1. So rather than just fly in a straight circle, we're going to go up and down a little bit. I think that'll be a lot more interesting. For the next point, we'll come around over to this side, and we're going to go up 1 more notch. So like that. And then we're going to go right over top of that point, and we're going to go up 1 more notch. And then we're going to stay at this level for 1 orbit. I'm going right over top of the points that I've already dropped. All right. And then on the next one, we're going to start going down. And so we're going to drop 1 right below here. Come over to this point, make sure we're lined up under there, and we're going to drop down 1 more, like that. We'll come around to this one, drop down 1 more, like that. And then the last point will be over here underneath those. And I'll exit out of the creation mode. And we'll go into the spark mode, come over to our path creator and open the logic menu and go into properties. And the only thing I'm going to change under here is to set the looped flag on, which will close the loop. And at that point, I think that is everything we need under here. I'm going to leave auto start objects when connected on, because that makes this a lot easier to deal with. All right, and there is our path. So that's where the flying elephants will go. Next, we'll come over to the vehicle summoner, and I'm going to go open the logic menu, come down to the properties, generated vehicle options, and under here, we're going to turn on orient along path, and the other 2 properties are fine. All right, now we need Dumbo. So I'm going to come out of the editor, and I'm going to place my Dumbo power disc on the base. And there's Dumbo. So that's great. But of course I need to get him attached to the path, and that's why we have the vehicle summoner. So to do that, what I'd like to have happen, and I'll go over my plan before I hook anything else up, when we enter the toy box down over there by the castle, what I want to have happen is have the Dumbos automatically appear in the toy box and start flying around the ride. And so in order to do that, we're going to launch this with the level starter. And so we're going to come over to our command center over here, to our level starter, and we're going to use this to kick off everything. So the first thing we're going to do is a new logic connection on Catalyze. And we're going to come over to the vehicle summoner. And we'll scroll down until we get to the hexagonal power discs and select Dumbo the Flying Elephant. And that will create one elephant and have him start flying around that. Now for the actual ride though, I'd like to have 4 of these flying around. And I kind of like them to be somewhat evenly spaced if possible. And so that's why we have the time delayers in here. And so I'm going to set up each of these with a delay. So the first one I'm going to set to 2 seconds. The next one I'm going to set to 4 seconds. And the last one we'll set to 6 seconds. So every 2 seconds, we're going to have a new Dumbo added to the ride. And you can play around with those numbers a little bit. That seems to work the best on my Wii U, although I might tweak that a little bit. But all right, so in the command center on the level starter, we're going to have this kick off each of those time delayers. So on Catalyze, come over to this one and start the delay, and a new logic connection on that time delayer. When the delay is completed, come over to the vehicle summoner, and once again come down to the hexagonal power discs and select Dumbo. And then we're going to do that exact same thing for the other 2 time delayers. So a new logic connection on Catalyze. Come over to our second time delayer and start the delay. And when the delay is completed, connect over to the vehicle summoner and put yet another Dumbo onto the ride. As I said, you can get by with 1 Dumbo or maybe 2, but since the actual ride has a number of these, I kind of thought 4 would be good. It's kind of like what I did with the teacups. I put more teacups in there than I need because you can only have 2 players at a time, but just makes the ride look a little more realistic. And once you've put 1 Dumbo in here, it doesn't take too much more memory to add additional ones. Of course, we don't want to go crazy and add too many. All right, so that takes care of adding them. Now, on the reset button, we want to make sure we take all of those Dumbos back out. So we'll come over to the vehicle summoner, go all the way to the bottom, and remove all. And to save a little bit of time on the reset button, we'll also come over and do a reset and stop on the path. And that way the CPU isn't trying to process this path when it doesn't need to. And believe me, this is going to be important when we get the carousel in here, because that's going to suck up a ton of resources. And so being able to stop everything and have it not go anywhere when you need to do some more editing is going to be really important. All right, at this point, let's go ahead and take Dumbo off the base. So now he's gone. And we'll come over to our command center and start it up. And by the way, that level starter is already connected to some things that are running. So we should come over here and turn everything off, and then come and turn everything back on. And let's go see what we got. Whoops. They're all piled up on top of the vehicle summoner. That's interesting. That shouldn't have happened. Did I forget to attach that to the path? Let's go hit our reset button so I can get to the vehicle summoner. I think I might have forgotten to attach that to the path. Just one slight misstep. Yeah, there's no connecting line going over there. That's important. There we go. Now it should work. So yeah, if you hook this up and you try it and it doesn't work, again, there's no need to panic. Just go and stop it and take a look and see what you forgot. All right, let's start it up again. And now we've got some Dumbos flying around. And that looks pretty good. They're pretty evenly spaced apart. Flying around kind of nice. Let's hop in one of them. Take him for a ride. That's pretty cool. I really like that. The camera bumps into a few of these objects. I see it bumped into that canopy. That's not where I had that placed originally. And it kind of clips the light poles a little bit as it comes around. The camera does, so you end up with a little bit of a hiccup. But as we come back up, bump that camera or that light pole a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and jump out of that. I had kind of liked the way this looked, but this sticking out is going to be a bit of a problem. So I'm going to slide this back like I had it originally. I think that'll be a little bit better. But there we are. That's my Dumbo ride. It's not too difficult to build, and it looks pretty good. It just makes me happy when I see Dumbo flying around in this toy box. He just looks so cute. And at this point, you can go ahead and move all of these toys underneath the terrain, and I would recommend doing that. Next time, we're going to build the big one, King Arthur's Carousel, which is going to go right over here. This is the one that many of you have been asking how to build, and I'll show you step by step how to construct it, and I'll prepare you ahead of time. It's going to be about a 4 or 5 hour build, so just get ready for that. In the meantime, I want to let you know that I've got a logic diagram for today's video on my blog. The link is in the video description, or just visit my website address on your screen. You can also click my photo in the lower right corner to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done that. Have a great day!